Good morning, everybody. This is Sylvie Fillion, also known as the Proficient Realtor. Today is day 2 of our memory blanket. We're going to be joining our 2 squares together. So let's get started. Okay, so part 2 of our memory blanket. Now, I had done this video here where I connected both of these, and I don't know what happened, but I ended up actually pausing the video somewhere at some point, and you're missing half of the video. So, part 2. Here we go. So I have my third color here. I've got my 2 squares that we've done. And we're going to be, so obviously my tails are way shorter because I had already cut them after sewing, not sewing them, but incorporating them in here. So we'll have to part 2. We'll do anyways. We'll make it work. It's not the end of the world, but usually you want a tail that's, kind of like this length here approximately, so you have enough to have it in the back here. I'll show you how it looks, but that's basically how it goes. Okay, so let's get started. So when I'm grabbing one of my corners here, I'm going to count. So you're not going to be picking up both sides. So usually when you're looking on top here, see, you're just going to be grabbing the one side here. Okay. So and you're going to see that these loops here are very, they're sticking out quite a bit. And that's because I've already did this here and I had to undo it, but usually it's going to look like this. So you're just going to be picking up the one portion here, the first loop. Okay. And what you want to do is you're going to be counting back. So remember, we're doing, for this example here, we're doing only, 10 total, right? So 10 here on the other side. Usually I do 16 and 16. So for just so that you're not watching me knit the whole time, and because it's the same thing from front row to back row, pretty much until you get down to the last stitches. I don't want you guys to be spending all your time watching me knit. So I'm going to start at the end, and I'm going to count back to see how many extra loops or loops I need to create up here. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then over here, so I'm going to create one out of here, and then I can always create one over here. Okay, so let's get started. So this one here, so this is going to be my first one. Now I'm just going to grab my yarn, and I'm just going to loop it like that. So it's just a loop, okay? And I'm going to pull it through. All right, so there's no knots, nothing is attached or anything like that. If I pull on this here, it's going to come right through. Okay, I'm holding it with my thumb though. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to create our second one here. Now, the way that I'm going to be weaving, so I've got my other 2 tails that I'm going to keep together. This is my ball of yarn here, I'm going to keep separate or on the side. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be, when you're weaving, when you want to weave it, okay, one time we're going to be creating a loop over here, and then the next time around we're going to be bringing the tails on top. Okay, so it was kind of done in the back because they're kind of they're facing towards the back. So the next stitch, I'm going to bring my tails over here, and I'm just going to go in the back. Okay, and I'm going to create, so I'm going to put it back over here, and I'm just going to create that other loop. Okay, so now my tails are starting to get weaved in. I'll show you when we get closer. Okay, so now we're down to 2, and then we had our 8 over here, as you can see. So I'm going to grab the next one here, and because we had the tails on top, we're going to have the tails at the back. Okay, so I'm just going to create another loop here. Okay, and then the next one, I'm going to have my tails facing on top. So creating another loop, I'll just put them back here. There we go. Okay, and then another one. So these tails are going to go at the back. And then forward. And I usually will have them kind of like wrapped and like around my finger, and then I'm not going to let them go, but I don't have enough tails here to, but I'll just keep them in my hands here. And then so this is going to be at the back, right? And then the next one is going to be to the front. Okay, pull it like that, and then these ones are going to be at the back, and then the front. There we go. All right, so now I should have 10. So let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I'm just going to put my marker here. Okay, we've done the one side. Now we're going to be connecting this side here. So this will have to be weaved in with a needle at the very end. I'm just going to kind of stick it down the side here. Okay, you won't be, the majority, probably 90% of your tails will be weaved in, but there might be a few that still need to be weaved in at the very end. But I rather do, you know, the 90% or 95% than instead of doing all of them. And this is what it looks like in the back. So now it's very easy to distinguish which one is the front and which one is the back. Okay, so we're going to make sure that when you're looking at your triangles or your diamonds, that you have the lines that are going up, so your ridge, your middle piece there. So obviously we're going to be grabbing this side here because we want to create a diamond in here, okay? Because it's easy to grab the other side like that, and then when you're going to be putting them together, then your line, one line's going to go this way, the other one's going to be this way here. So you got to make sure that just kind of have them lined up here on the counter, and then you know exactly which you have to, you know, we have to grab over here. Okay, so we're going to be grabbing the first one here. You can still count like we did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 over here, and then we'll still have to create 2 in this little knot area. Okay, so we're still going to be, we'll keep going the same thing that we've been doing with our tails. Okay, so obviously this side, oops, sorry, I dropped my marker here in the process. So we can tell that the tails finished on the top end because they're kind of, you know, my yarn is at the back here, right? So the next time we're going to have the tails at the back, and I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing right there. Okay, and then the tails, whoops, where's my tails? Where are my tails? One of them is like in the front. Get out of there. There we go. Okay, so we don't mind this one here, the brown one. Okay, so now the tails are going to be in the front. So usually they're a lot longer, so you don't have to fight like what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of fighting with them a little bit there. Okay, and then so at the back, okay, creating our loops. And then at the front, this is going to be the last time that I'm going to have my tails at the front. I always like to finish the tails because see how it's like sticking up like that because they were at the front. So I'm just going to, the last time that I'm going to be looping them in here. Now, if I had more length, I'd still be going towards the end, okay, just to make sure that it's nice and secure. But because I'm short a little bit, I'm just going to make sure that I finish toward the tails towards the back because now they're not in my way and they're not sticking up. They're kind of like downwards where they should be, okay? And then the rest I'm just going to finish without the tails. Okay, so I'm going to count. I should have 8 after this one. So let's count to see what we have. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'm going to have to create 2 out of this here. So I see one here that's close to the end. And then I think I'm just going to pick up this one here. Let me see if I can just create one out of here. There we go. Okay, because we want 10 and 10 on each side of the marker. And then my last one. All right, so we've got 10 and then the marker and then 10 more. So I'm going to turn my work around and I'm going to get rid of these tails here because those are going to be annoying and in the way. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this, and then this one here we're going to be weaving at the end, or you can do it actually after we're done putting these two guys together, but you can, and this one here is going to be weaved with the next the next section that we, you know, when we're adding another triangle or diamond, whatever you want to call them. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my work around, and we're doing the exact same thing that we did for the other ones. Okay, so make sure I'm not grabbing this end here. So the first one, because it's over here and it's not creating a new triangle, I'm just going to slip it. Okay, let's get this tail here out of the way. So I'm just going to put my yarn at the back like I did with the other ones, and we're just going to knit right through. Okay, until we are at the very last stitch. So we're doing the exact same thing that we did with the other squares. I call them squares, but technically they're diamonds, I guess, depending on the way that you look at them. All right, so slip my marker, and then I hope you guys like the new background. It's we've moved, and this is my kitchen island countertop. So I think that it's probably easier to see, I guess, the work from the my black desk upstairs. I found that there was a lot of reflecting the light on it, and the videos were maybe not as good. Now I'm down to the last one, so I'm just going to slip it in the back, okay, and then knit in the back. Slip my needle in the back and then knit in the back. Okay, so now I'm turning it around. There we go, and we're going to do the same thing that we were doing with the other ones. Okay, I'm just going to put my needle here behind the yarn because it's I've got circular needles. So slip the first one. Now I like to hold my work here with my thumb, that way there nothing slips. Okay, putting the yarn between the needles and at the back. Then I'm going to knit until I get to the last 2 stitches before the marker. Okay. And, oops. What are we down to now? 4. All right, 3. So last 2 stitches before the marker, I'm going to be knitting these 2 together. There we go. All right, I'm gonna pass my marker, slip this one, knitwise, and I'm going to knit them in the front. Okay, and then make sure I get those 2 stitches off, and then just knit as regular like we've been doing. All right, until we get to the last stitch. Now let's say if you had forgotten to do this side here, the knitting the 2 together, or maybe before the marker. There's an easy way to fix that, and I found that it hasn't. So the last stitch over here, I'm just going to slip in the back and knit. There we go. Okay, so I found that there's no you can't tell in your work when you're if you do the correction that I'm going to show you. So let's say if I had, so what are we down to now? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we're down to 9. And so let's say if I had 9 on this side, 8 on this side. So obviously I should be down to 8, right? And not 9. So what I would do is when I'm on the wrong side, I would knit. So if it's on this side here, then I will do exactly what I do on the other side. I'll knit those 2 together. And then if it was on this side here, then I'd be doing the exact same thing. So I'll slip one, slip the other one, and then knit them together. Okay, but you correct only the side that has too many stitches. So if it's this side, you correct this side. If it's this one here, on that one there. And you do it on your back, on the back of the work, on the wrong side. And then when you come back on the front, you're still doing your knit together. You just keep going as usual. So usually you don't do anything in the back. You're just knitting straight through, right? But the corrections can be done in the back, and you won't even be able to tell that you've done a correction in the front. It doesn't screw up your pattern, which is really nice. So first one, you're going to slip over, okay? and I'm going to bring my yarn between the two needles into the back, and I'm just going to knit. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that this one here I had on this one here, this side here, I had one stitch too many. Okay, just to show you guys. So I wait until I'm down to the last two stitches before the marker, and I'm here now. So I'd be knitting these two together like I do in the front. Okay, but I don't have a mistake to correct, so I'm just going to do a single one. Them together, I'm not knitting them together because we're on the wrong side. Now if you had the correction on this one here, I'd be slipping this one, and then knitting them together like I usually do, but there's no correction needed, so I'm just going to keep going. All right, so I will fast forward until we get down to the top layers, or the top rows, I mean, and I'll show you how to finish it. We're still finishing it the same way that we were finishing when we were doing the, the single, both single pieces, single squares. Okay. And then that's basically it, how you attach two squares or two diamonds together. And I'll show you what it looks like towards the end. All right, so we are down to the last 6 stitches. All right, so we're going to pull our last one, put the yarn between, knit these two together. I guess I knitted a little tighter, did some stress knitting there. Just kidding. Okay, so slip my marker and then slide this one. Okay, so sometimes this happens. See that little piece here? I'm just going to grab these two together. Oops. I'm just going to slide it here, and then it'll be picked up and it won't appear as a silly little loose loop. And I'll knit these two together. Okay, whoops, come on. Oh, schnitz. Okay, so I'm just going to let this go here because that was going not good. It was going bad. Okay, so just going to pick it up there again and do that. There we go. That's better. And then slip the last one. Okay, so now we're down to 2. All right, wrong side. We're just going to knit through. So slip the first one. All right. Oh, see, we got it. It didn't work. It's still there. So let's try to knit. There we go. Oh, this will be fixed. There we go. All right. So, and then, oops. There we go. All right, down to 4. So we're going to do the same way that we usually finish them off. Okay, we're going to knit those 2 together like that. I'm going to drop my marker and then slip the first one. I'm going to pull the next one this way here because then it's just going to look funny, and then knit them together. Okay, and then when I get here, I'm just going to slip the first one. Okay, and I'm going to knit the last one in the back like we usually do. Okay, let's do that again. And then while we're still in the back, I'm going to pick up the first stitch and I'm going to pull it over the first or the last one. Okay, I'm going to pull my yarn a little bit like that to make a loop. All right, give it a tail, get rid of this, and then just pull my tail through. Okay, so this is like way too long. You don't need that long of a tail, but anyway, so there you go. We have 3 squares or 3 diamonds together. Woohoo! Part 2 is done. And sorry for the paint. I was painting acorns just before I did this video here. You can check out my acorn video. And I thought I got everything, but apparently I did not. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so there you go. Part 2 of our memory blanket is done. And I think I'm going to pick up, so this one here was just kind of like, for example, right? I'm going to pick up my other blankets, my cat's blanket and my other one that I work on, and we'll continue our videos showing you how to add more this way, more this way. And if you want to do something that has the jagged edge at the bottom, or if you prefer to have something that's going to be like more of a square blanket. Okay, sounds good. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Have a great day, everybody.